Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 25th of April 2023. Thought I'd just give a final word on this whole national emergency alert thing that myself and many other people in the truth and freedom movement have been talking about for the last week or so. Just a few more words and then that's it, going to draw a line under it. So under the video I made about 3 days ago where I was informing people about a third alert thing we've got to look out for under the home tab in the notifications section, and it was critical alerts, wasn't it? And this was on top of the other, or the usual two, that I think most people knew about well ahead of time. That video had a lot of views and I got a lot of comments under that video, and many of them were supportive and appreciative. A few were a little bit, had contradictory points of view, which I certainly don't mind if they've got a valid point and it's kind of constructive criticism. And three types of comment in that category jumped out at me. And the first one, and this was said by a few people, few viewers, they were saying that these critical alerts under the home section are more for smart devices that you might have around your home, which will send a notification to your phone if they're detecting something. So it might be a smart security camera or burglar alarm, smoke alarms, fire alarms, carbon monoxide alarms. If any of those things detect, what they're supposed to detect, as well as going off, they will send a notification through to your phone to tell you, if you're away from your home or whatever, to tell you that you've got a break in. So that was a valid point, I thought, and that may mean if you've got these smart devices around your home, I wouldn't have thought many people who watched the likes of me are into smart devices, but there might be a few people who might want to consider what I'm about to say. It's kind of a disclaimer really, and I'm still not 100% convinced that the government might not use this particular alert facility on your phone to get their messages through to you. I've got no idea, and personally, because I've got none of these smart devices around my home, I'm just going to keep any type of alert that's on my phone switched off from now on. But what you might have to do is, if you've got these kind of smart devices around your home, you might decide you'd rather turn the critical alerts under the home section that I was talking about the other day. You might want to decide to turn that back on so that you can get these alerts through. Very much up to you. It's not my job to tell you what to do. I'm not an expert on these things. All I'm doing is really saying it as I see it at the particular moment in time. I might come across stuff and I'll comment on it, and it's really up to you to either run with what I'm saying if you want to, or if you don't want to, or you think it's a bad idea not to do so. You need to do your own due diligence on anything I say. So just thought I'd sort of warn you about that. You might sort of think, well, you've got to weigh up, I suppose, in your mind. Do I want to avoid any possibility of getting these government alerts through kind of 100%, or do I want to turn these notifications from my smart devices that I've got in my home back on again? So that's a judgment call for you to do, but I thought I'd better put you kind of 100% in the picture. So job done on that. So the second kind of comment that I got that was, I suppose, a little bit contradictory was one or two viewers said, well, I think I'm going to keep my alerts on and my phone on because I want to know what the government are up to, if they're up to any kind of shenanigans or whatever. I want to find out about it straight away. I don't want to have to wait around for a few hours or even a few days to find out. I want to find out straight away. So that's a valid point. It's always good to know sort of what is happening, as immediately or as soon as possible in many cases. And I thought that was a valid point. And another point that I thought was also valid was, and this came from one or two viewers as well, is the comment went along the lines of, just think about this, guys. The government have just made you switch your phone off for several hours or several days even, and you say you're not into government control, but they have just controlled you in that way. So that was something I hadn't thought of, and it's a valid point, I've got to say. And again, you have to weigh up, do I just not want to have anything to do with the government and just don't want any kind of alert from them, even if that kind of can be seen as them sort of controlling me. So again, it's a judgment call that you've got to make. And that third one leads me on to something I'm going to talk about for the rest of this video. This is a concept that I found out recently in this book I'm reading at the moment, and it's the concept of the Strawman argument. Now, this isn't to be confused with the common law thing, your strawman identity, your legal fiction and all of that. The strawman argument is completely different, although the common law strawman thing is an equally fascinating subject, but for another video and not this one. So what is a strawman argument? Well, it's an argument or a proposal that might be floated, that you might come across in the forums and wherever else you go for your information, that on the surface of it looks perfectly credible and valid and a newsworthy item perhaps, but upon closer inspection it's something that's very easy to disprove and to sort of show it's just a load of nonsense. Hence the strawman name. It just gets blown away as easily as a man made out of straw in a high wind. So that's where the name comes from. And this is a tactic that's used by the powers that shouldn't be, or their minions at least, in the 77th Brigade and other things like that. What they'll do is they'll pepper the kind of Telegram groups and the forums, etc., with the strawman type things, in the hope is, of course, is to discredit truthers. What they want to happen is for us truthers to pick up on these things and to talk about them, and to maybe more prominent truthers in the truth and freedom movement to maybe run with it for quite a long time, and then they can turn around and say, well, look, this bloke was talking about this, we can disprove it because of this and this, and is this bloke really a valid source of information, because he was talking about this for ages and it's a load of nonsense. So it's a way of discrediting people in the truth and freedom movement, and it's something we do need to be aware of and to look out for, this whole strawman thing, because it is a tactic of theirs that is used on a fairly regular basis. I like to think I'm fairly good at spotting these things, sorting the wheat from the chaff, as it were. I'm probably not 100% infallible. Well, obviously I'm not, but I like to think that most of them I've spotted and avoided, but there may well be the odd one. And who knows, maybe this whole national emergency alert thing was such a thing. Was it a strawman thing? Again, a few commenters under that video of mine were saying that it's certainly been a distraction, at least. You know, think about that. We've all been talking about this subject for, you know, emergency alert thing for a week plus, and what's been going on in the background that's been distracting us from. So again, you know, another very valid point. So yeah, the strawman argument, I think it's something we need to look out for. Do you think this alert thing has been just a big strawman thing? Do you think it was something we should be worried about? Do you think it was a storm in a teacup? You know, what's your opinion on it? And what do you think about strawman arguments in general? I think it's probably something we need to look out for, and I'd appreciate seeing what you think about this thing. You know, do we need to be looking out for strawman arguments a bit more, be a little bit more wary about what we take in when we go online? Yeah, you know, I think we do need to be a bit more careful perhaps, and try and avoid these distractions, these strawman arguments, which are just going to pull us down into blind alleys and not get us anywhere. So I'm going to leave it there with that said, and I'll be back very soon. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.